and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons. And welcome back, our original bard. Previously, I'm not going to go too much through the previously because that's what we're going to spend the next 3 hours doing. Give or take, more or less. But the Cupcake Coterie is basically killing time before a late-ish appointment with Molly Cathay, the friend they made while they were heading to the Elvenwild, in point of fact, because they part of the price for the new horse after Ice Drakes ate their old one was, hey, get our daughter to Egref, to the academy. They did that, so she is very, very grateful and probably easier to deal with than Professor August, who is basically sick of everybody's bullshit right now. She's been sick of everybody's bullshit for decades. But meantime, because it's not going to be that late, the recommendation is to pop back to the Riddler Stump for a little while, because, as Cherie puts it, if nothing else, Hazel Harthart, you are going to have to sort out that bag of holding of yours. I've seen the amount you've put in it. You have a portable kitchen now. And I'm sure that if you ask Alice very nicely, she will imagine a dedicated Hazel Snack storage situation.
Yeah, anyone observing the cleric can now see/hear the gears spinning up in her head.
It's that's not, that's finite space. There's just a lot of it. Alice is
gears, smoke,
and Alice is just going, I actually want to see if this works on a regular door, because it occurs to me that if we're going to be either using a door or drawing a door on a wall, it ought to be a wall that we more or less control for the duration. Besides, it means that Polly gets a little bit more income every time we're here.
Yeah, given a lot, yeah, that sounds like it's right, because we already have so much that works with doors, and I'm pulling up on the chain, and
yeah, I don't think you should try that key in any of the doors in the surreal estate.
No, because if this is teleportation,
who knows where we'd wind up.
Yeah, I don't think it breaks planar bounds, and it would be weird, and probably do something stupid like what putting like a portable hole does into one of these does. There was a warning label, do not do that. I don't think we want to ever do that.
Well, that rant is happening, Cherie is. Barnabas, would you be adverse to carrying a large amount of yarn?
No, that's fine.
It's just because it's an Anberian thing. Even if you're paying them for the hospitality, gifts are a thing. So I thought that I would get Polly some wool for her yearly scarf.
Alright. Yeah, no. I'm more than happy to pack mule all the yarn I can carry for that.
I don't know how much I'm going to be purchasing, but I have a feeling that she's using the yarn that you more regularly find around here and Bellarise, and I'm pretty sure, given that they know who can get them access to the finer Amberian wools, a discount might be in the offing, and she could make a particularly soft scarf. It was yellows, shades of yellow, wasn't it? So yeah, after the purchase of multiple balls of yarn, which, I mean, to be fair, it's yarn. It's not Not particularly heavy for Barnabas, though she does throw in a nice set of new knitting needles, just in case, because you never really have too many. While Barnabas is having bags handed to him, a fairly large metal butterfly with a little note tucked into a cylinder on its back hovers around and then lands on on the edge of Barnabas's snout.
Um.
Alice takes it, unrolls. Molly says she's on a secondary research path. She's going to be a bit late, but she will be there sometime after 11, probably. And something I don't quite understand about the adventure clause, meaning curfew won't be a problem. I think she's trying to reassure us that we're not going to get her in trouble by asking her to break curfew. I think. And the butterfly just kind of flies away. She has messenger drones. So yeah, I guess we have time to sort out your bag of holding. Probably mine too. I don't think I've ever really unpacked it very much, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, how did one dump everything? Because I'm worried that's gonna go everywhere.
Turn upside down, I think.
I thought it was inside out.
Either or both. I don't know.
Because we've been upside down and nothing's fallen out before.
Yeah, but it was fastened when you were upside down.
Right. Well, we'll try both, and whichever one causes the room to fill with random objects, well, yeah.
Let's be honest, it's mostly toaster pastries.
Okay, yeah, it will be just an entire wall of that, but still, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here.
Clarity might want to ask if any of that involved the sandwich cookies that Belladonna told you about.
Oh, were there any of those sandwich cookies that I've heard about them from Belladonna? I would like.
To be honest, Hazel doesn't remember, but there is a vague recollection of having rampaged through a cookie aisle at some point.
I know I hit the place with all the cookies, and for all we know, some of the toast pastries might have that as a flavor or a design thing. I don't know. This is Agraf.
Well, let's see what.
Shall do some cookie spelunking.
Yeah, so goes the trip on the trolley and back to the Riddler stump, where you're not heading up straight away, long enough for Polly to be profusely thankful and not letting you get away from her without at least providing you with cups of tea. Just as she's setting the tea tray down, doorbell rings. I will get it. Drink your tea. Drink your tea. Opens the door.
And Darvin comes running
Boof!
immediately through the door. Yeah, nearly body checking Polly. Completely not even realizing it at first. Runs into
There's just
the
like
main area,
slight meow.
promptly falls over a cat, not landing completely face first down because Dex is a little too high for that, but yes, landing on the floor, going blink, blink, blink. Crap. Sorry, Polly. Sorry. Looking down at the cat. I'll buy you tuna later. What the heck happened? How can I help? And yeah.
Okay, very first thing you're going to do is breathe. There's tea, and then we'll show you the first of the weird shit.
Darvin!
Hi,
Runs over
Darvin.
and kind of tackles him with a hug.
Beat me to it.
I think I'm already on the floor. And that was said. I think I'm on the floor. It's only been a couple of days. What?
Feels like
Stuff.
forever.
To be fair, for us, it's been longer than a couple of days.
I know.
T.
Okay, Darwin.
Yeah,
As
you
Darwin
know,
gets up, as Darwin is getting up, he's gonna pull a quick, just look over everybody, insight check, just to get some inkling of just how fucked is fucked.
Well, first,
don't mind.
I'm going to ask
No.
for an insight check. Then I'm going to ask for a perception check because there's some stuff that doesn't necessarily involve insight that you might also notice. Because a few things changed while you were away.
You.
Okay. Sorry, I've got Roll20 open on this computer, so I'm still arranging my office and getting everything situated, and now I got to remember where the heck character sheets are. Ah, found it. Okay, I'm here. One moment, scrolling to insight. Where'd it go? There it is. Click.
Whoa.
Why were you rolling with advantage?
Well, at
I
least it
was?
was the same roll.
Yeah.
True enough.
It had
Oh, it
the
is,
advantage
yeah.
toggled on.
I have no idea why.
It
I mean, it's
defaults-
equal, so I mean, it's up to you. If you want me to
No,
Want me to re-roll?
they're the same roll, but for straight up perception.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Shit happens.
And then straight up perception. Sorry. Oh, there it is. It's also a skill. 15. Decent.
Well, as far as the insight goes, even with a roll like that, put it to you this way: they have seen some shit. They have been through some shit. I'll say probably more than the rest of them. Perception.
That tracks.
Perception. Ava's wearing a holy symbol.
One of his eyebrows kind of goes. "Mm?" As he notices that, going like, so it's like, and his eyes are like, oh god, what did I miss? Holy crap! And then he goes to Ava and goes, huh?
Oh, he noticed.
Oh,
And
and
he was starting to spin.
Clarity is glittery. She's gonna be glittery for the next week.
Yep.
It's like she was literally armor, hair, face, horns, everything dusted in glitter.
That gets less of an eyebrow raise only because, well, it is clarity.
I was
But
about
at the
to
same
say.
time, like, did you run bodily into a craft store?
I was recently ice cream.
I hate the fact that I understand that sentence.
Coming out of anyone else's mouth, I would be horribly confused. But coming out of yours, at the same time, I'm confused, but also that tracks.
By the way, speaking of ice cream, your Adventurer's Abomination thing is spreading.
There's an ice cream shop that we
That's a
came.
outright face palm.
There's an ice cream shop we went to earlier called Rossini's, and they have made a similar challenge.
Oh my lord! I kind of hope it spreads to other foods because this is hilarious, and it's probably good marketing, I guess, or advertising.
More or less, yes. Yeah, I'm just gonna say T gets more or less finished. Cherie is. I can probably join you later, provided you leave the door open for at least a few minutes. I'm going to help Polly with washing up. Oh, no, you do not have to. It's 8 teacups. I'm not going to leave you to do that on your own. That's rude. Also, take it, because Barnabas hasn't even really had time to put away the yarn. Our compliments and thanks for your hospitality. But you don't have to. I'm from Ambia. Okay, maybe you do have to. Oh, this is the alpaca. I may save this for the actual wearable scarf. Come on, let the team reacquaint, and I'll be in when I'm done. I'll leave the door open, whichever door I happen to wind up using. And yeah, upstairs to the room that Remy and Alice would have been sharing. Takes a rather ornate key, definitely not the key to that door, puts it in the door, and it goes in anyway. Click, opens the door, and what you're looking at is a sitting room in the style of Hearth Home, except the furniture matches a little better, it's bigger, and the kitchen is not directly off of it. Come on in. Welcome to the Surreal Estate. I would bet money that your bedroom will be by the game and rehearsal room. It grabs Darfin by the front of the collar and just yank. Ah, yeah, see, there it is. Click. Eep. And yeah, what you have is weapons rack, stand for your instruments, comfy bed, little bookshelf, comfy chair, desk. Decorated in purples.
Yeah, we seem to be collecting magic keys with extreme power now, so add that to the list of weird things we've done.
I got one of the good things about the recent bits of bullshit is that Calichel gave me this. It's basically my house now. So we're gonna go into the kitchen because Hazel has to sort out her bag of holding, and there's a table in there, and we can fill you in, or they can fill you in at least in part, because some of it I wasn't really around for. It was a thing. And later I will give you the rest of the tour, because apparently there is a menagerie, a bathhouse, spa, a training room, full stable with riding area. It's like somebody took the Magnificent Mansion spell and made it easier to get into. This is like a permanent plane now. Oh, and 3 libraries, apparently. And I like them too, but apparently I was being really generous to Clarity when I was internally and not deliberately designing this place. And yeah, when you go into the kitchen, you find cabinet over a smaller fridge with the cabinet is green, and in gold lettering is Hazel Snacks. And there's one that's Azorius blue with a fridge underneath, Barnabas's Snacks.
Okay. Well, here we go. I'm gonna take the I'm gonna pull the bag of holding off of myself, open it up, first turn it upside down, and then start turning it inside out.
Either way, you wind up with, because there's still bunches of clothes in there, and everything you've picked up from every shop, and just thankfully at least some of the clothes you gave to Zana to redesign and things, but they're still just all your stuff. There's
the war skillet, a warhammer, a magic warhammer, the red dragon spear, which I'm just the spear ended in a red dragon fang, which I'm just taking and just handing it to Remy.
What am I supposed to do with this?
At this point, you would have better luck with that than I would, mostly because I'm carrying around, and I'm just gonna point to the axe. There's also soap from Sweetwater's, the endless water jug, the food,
Don't you?
essentially
The dust
the
of
food
you have
basket and
you have the dust of
goods basket.
you have the dust of vanishing too in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's also in here, which is terrifying.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think I handed off the robe of useful items to Zana.
Isn't that the bag that's got, or I can't? I remember there being still some clothing left from Darvin's mom in
Yeah,
one of the bags.
uh,
Not
I'm
much, but
I'm basically making the assumption that those have basically stayed at Hearthhome because at this point a decision has one of the things that Darwin's going to be caught up on is a decision has now been very much made about what Ava is going to be doing with the rest of her life. And well, you will see. Yeah, and as Hazel's emptying things out, the radiant yellow gold transparent spectral servants are putting things away. Some are grabbing, your regular clothing and things like that and taking it to what you have to assume is your room, arranging things in the snack cupboards.
Yeah, there's a miscellaneous pack of essentially that's still got the symbol from Mount Palor on it from like back when I got sent there. That was the priest's pack. Let's see, there's leather armor that was in here. The original chain shirt I got sent off with, a shield.
Yeah, you don't have to itemize everything for us, by the way. Just be aware that anything you don't want to be lugging around or don't use regularly is going to be tidily placed somewhere in the surreal estate.
Yeah, I'm at least partly summarizing it just to have a description of what's clattering out onto the...
Yeah, but thankfully, the only reason it's not becoming a problem is because that's why I was saying the spectral servants are tidying it as fast as you can get it out.
Yep. All of this stuff getting deployed and then immediately handled.
Yeah, and given this is apparently taking a while, and apparently we're not talking until we've got over the Hazel and the way she keeps her... there are in fact multiple bags of the sandwich cookies. You know the various really weird flavors you can get Oreos in?
Oh man, the ones that are like soda flavored?
Stuff like that, yeah.
There's the birthday cake flavor, Coca-Cola flavor. Oh yeah, the literal freaking armload of candied bacon.
Yeah,
The one, I think that stuff was also extremely spicy. In addition to the nuts that are just made out of pure, oh god.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I say, everything is getting tidied away. So by the time this has got into some semblance of order, and Michigan has basically clambered up into Darvin's lap and going snug. Snug. just squeeze him real tight. He likes tight snugs. And by the time that's more or less sorted out, Sheree comes back in. Here's your key. I shut the door behind us. Nice to know that it works on a door. I did speak to Polly, by the way, and she tried to insist that we didn't have to pay for the other rooms because we're only using one, but I was not having any of that. I'm fairly sure that with all of us, we'd much rather make sure that she's got the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking it by the tidying of things that we haven't started the conversation yet. You've stunned Darwin with excess.
Yeah, it's very hard to stun him into silence usually, but something like this often works.
Well, at least I'm here for that, so
I'm more just confused
either way.
and just waiting for someone to start
Perhaps
explaining.
perhaps start with questions or
Yeah.
give them a place to start. You know what they're like.
I mean, I've got a rough idea where I
It's
could
fair. Okay.
Well, why don't you
So,
start with what had you running
I
in
mean,
here like your...
chronological?
I'd like to know why you ran
Oh.
in here like your buttocks were on fire.
General,
Because
what was the last
because
word that he received via or
what
something?
what he
So,
what he
there was genocide involved, I think. if I'm
what you
correct.
were actually what you actually got was one of the members of Alice's pack grabbing and shaking him repeatedly because the pack individual had heard something about basically all of the Azamar being dead. So you immediately went to the Bone Orchard, and they said, "No, she's alive. The rest of them aren't so much. They're in Egref right now." And so you teleported to Egref, and now
Okay.
you're in. You'll ask about this later.
Yeah. So okay, I was repeatedly shaken by someone from your pack, Alice.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, with everything I can't recall now who it was.
And
Saying all
shaking
of
you
the
doesn't
Asimar
narrow
were
it down.
dead. Right, and so then I went to the Bone Orchard, and they said you were alive, but everyone else not so much.
Well, there are two kids.
Asimar. Uh, the,
There are two
and
Scourge kids.
oh, oh,
But the ones that we sent to Hearthhome because they didn't have family here, they died too. So it's two Scourge and me.
um, okay, but that's why they said you were in Egref, so that's when I came here because I knew this was sort of
Where we
our
stay.
home away from home in Egref. So yeah, so what the heck?
Well, you see, that's the
lot.
thing. We were kind of in Avernus when that was happening. And time runs very differently in Avernus, so it was about a week for them, a couple of weeks for me.
I was worried that things would go to
To hell, but you didn't
hell's
think it'd be...
while I was away, but I didn't expect you to actually go there.
Well, what happened, what said was, you and Faraday were off
They...
in the Apology Tour?
Silver Vault.
Silver Vault, sorry. But you two were at the Silver Vault. Then all of us except Ryden and me
And you two.
disappeared. And you two, yes. Disappeared. So it turned out the reason they were taken, not us, was during the fight in the settlement,
The duel.
the duel, sorry. And the fight after that, we didn't get hit. We didn't shed any blood, essentially, which they had. And somehow they used that. So Ryden and I went to get them back, which we managed, apart from Madison, who was, as mentioned, in a verse.
Yeah, I think it's got to be one of the others to explain exactly what went down because I didn't see all that much of it. I was stuck in a bubble. Ree was in a cage that apparently hurt her every time she attempted to break it open and kept doing it anyway. And had no patience with the monologuing, which I can't really blame her for either, but you find out things when they monologue. Point is that one of the other things they used our blood for was the reason that we say all the Azamar apart from these three, us three, are gone is because they used various bits of blood and whatever other ritual they had to. They're not just fallen, they're not Azamar at all anymore, they're Erinese. They're devils.
Yeah. Yeah.
They apparently petitioned Asmodeus.
It's real bad. Yeah. Mhm. Not to mention all of the now departed as a result of that are being used, kind of, their energy as part of a weapon.
A
That,
divine energy powered device that said gaggle of Erinnyes are planning to hit either Tiamat, the black shit, or both with at the same time. And given how unstable that is and how much energy is involved, if it's capable of hurting a deity, it's going to punch a hole in reality.
We don't
Or
know.
several holes in reality.
Because the thing is, it's a device that was made by the Quick Flight in the day, except they don't know how to make it. They just did, okay, it looks like this, so we'll do something approximate. Which obviously, with something that powerful.
We've actually got Molly Cathay looking into how exactly unstable it might be. Um, she's very keen on helping, you see, and we figured that with her expertise, she'd at least know something about the structural integrity of the materials that are holding that amount of divine spark in it. She did, however, also say that magic being used on or around it is liable to destabilize it further. One of the worst things that can be done with it is to be teleported, and it has been teleported at least 3 times already.
Oh, lords.
They're gonna put
Yeah.
a hole in reality, one of these instances of them just going somewhere, and that's why we need to find these idiots, and hit them repeatedly until they stop twitching.
We've been following a lead of the scientist, an alchemist of sorts, who is in charge of the thing, except he's not stable mentally.
The
He
word
is also a bomb about to go off.
the words giggling lunatic fit.
Yeah, those words have been bandied around, and he's been known to hit it with a hammer and a chainsaw, so, you know. Yeah, we've been trying to figure out who that person is and whether we can track him down that way, but leads have been not so successful.
So the
Well,
Azamar gone.
yeah, and while you're thinking that out, given the amount you've been running around, I kind of imagine you haven't eaten very much today. We've had dinner, but I'm going to make sure you eat something because we're going to be up for a while because we have that rendezvous with Molly later, and you might as well jump right back in with both feet. Anything in particular you fancy?
And as the mention of as food is mentioned and Darwin is listening, that's when you his stomach just kind of.
Okay, I missed that.
Right.
Anything in particular you fancy?
Apparently something dense.
I think I
Stretching
I think I can I think I can work something out. Yeah, the kitchen's kind of neat. If you ask for things, as long as they're predominantly ingredients, they'll just kind of appear.
Well, okay.
There are probably limits,
Um,
but I haven't tested them yet. I first opened this like
but
a few hours ago, and moves off to the more culinary bits and starts muttering at the fridge. Continue.
so the so so the sorry, I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that they're all gone long after we worked so hard.
It's been rough for everyone,
Everything.
all of us too. I would say most of all. And the slightly more important part to that is the gods are not very happy about that, so they've essentially decided no more Azamar.
Ver?
For now,
I
at
mean,
the
I
very least,
understand.
it
Things are.
may change their
Until
mind
further
someday,
notice.
but who knows when that'll be.
God's made a
Okay,
decision.
well,
We have to roll with it.
so, well, yeah, but if I'm understanding correctly, basically we have to, in order to fix that, we have to change the world, right?
Solve the problem, which is to say, giggling psycho.
Counts as changing the
Among other
world, I'd
things.
argue.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
You
okay.
know that doesn't
Add it to
necessarily.
the list at this point.
You know that does not necessarily mean the gods will
Sorry.
change their minds.
No, but I don't see any reason not to try.
Oh no, I mean, it has to be done anyway. It's just that may not be the quid pro quo you're imagining it to be. As I understand it, Azamar were seen as a gift,
Got you.
and Azamar was seen as a gift. And look how they were treated.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's a fair point. I cannot blame them in the slightest for that, and I don't, obviously.
It may not be us having to change the world, it might just have to be the rest of sapient life proving itself worthy. You can't fix
Well, I mean,
everything.
yeah, fair. No. Yeah, I'm coming to terms with that over the last. It's still going on the list. I'm
Of course,
still
it's
going
on
to
the
try
list.
to make it better, but I'm not going to assume it's going to work. But I'm going to try. Damn it, this story is not going the way it should, and I'm going to make sure it does.
I'd watch how loudly you say that around Alice. I don't think she considers the fate of her species a story.
I know that's why
I'm-
meant in general, but yes. You're right.
Still be careful. Understanding is a thing we have in this group, but just
It's been
still be careful. We're
it's-
not like telling you don't ever at all or else. It's just you know how this is and how
Get it.
much that sort of thing hurts.
It's been rough on her anyway. That blood connection that thankfully I think it was Remy who did some dealing about that, did allow, you know, the kinds of spells that require a sight line or touch. When they have your blood, that's basically you.
Bypass that.
They hit her with a paralysis spell when she was directly over the sticks. Roll me history just to see if you actually know exactly how bad that is in character.
Yeah, because I have some inkling.
And the skills, if you're looking for it.
6. No idea.
Yeah, so all you know is like, God, she nearly drowned.
I understand that's a river. I'm not getting the significance.
Landing in the Styx erases your memory.
Because it's a river in the Hells, specifically Avernus.
And it's complete erasure. She was non-verbal.
Oh, Jaimin, aha.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's
obviously
supposed to
not
be part.
anymore.
Well, what's the symbol? That's where this comes in.
Yeah. Is this a segue to explain that, or are we going to continue and explain that later? Because that needs explaining too.
It will get explained, don't worry.
I'm not mad. I'm just horribly confused about everything.
Well, do you want to explain that first, or go back to?
I think like, give the poor man some closure here.
Fair enough. Well, we managed to get her back out of Avernus, and we were going to try and restore her memory. She got a bit spooked and flew off.
As an aside, because you are usually up for the comic potential of this, she was obviously spooked to begin with, because all of a sudden she's in some place else she doesn't recognize, and then Hazel opened a door to the outside. Consider a creature of a sun god who doesn't even remember having seen the sun, and then there it is.
Yeah, my objective was door to. I was looking for the door that was leading back in. And
Didn't think to ask me, even though we were in the governor's palace and she knew it. Pat, pat.
spur of the moment, you know that we've been over this game.
I like to ensure that
Yeah,
mistakes
yeah.
are remembered so they aren't repeated, that's all.
And
That's fair.
we figured one way to, well, with a little help from
Ziriel, yeah.
little help from Ziriel was one way to find her. Was she couldn't speak except a little bit of the people's language, I think.
It was a muscle memory sort of situation.
She still had her protective instincts, but that's part of her, obviously. So, if someone was in danger, she would obviously always come and save them. That she wanted to do. And so I took a leap of faith.
What she is neglecting to mention is that she'd already been turning a little bit in that direction, and if my instincts are correct, it was as much a close bond with the granddaughter of said deity as it was the deity himself. And there was much more to Ava than Avelaine Vanadar, ruler-to-be of the Vanadar Holdings. She wasn't a hunter anymore. She was fighting a war. So apparently we need to look for somebody named David Bailey. We gave you apparently gave the rulership of Star Coast to Francine. David Bailey was mentioned as a potential for Cedar Grove. I'm assuming you approve. Given that expression, good. And around about this point, re-enter Alice with the stack of plates. The top one has a pretty massive sandwich, but in the other hand, there's this big basket of steaming. They look like bread rolls, but not quite. I made something for everyone because I know how awkward it is to be eating by yourself. Clunk. And yeah, this is like Dagwood sandwich.
I get that reference.
These are the general overall feel to the things in the basket is char siu bao. So yeah, you've got these. It's just the inside is a little bit spicier than because it's Alice cooking. It's not anything that's going to kill the very, very white among you, but it's got a bit more kick than the average char siu bao. Then puts plates in front of us. You help yourselves. Grabs a bun. So where are we in this?
I was taking the leap of faith to...
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly don't remember very much about much of that beyond crazy people are flailing at me, which I mean, okay, even with the context to understand why I'm with you guys, it's still crazy people flailing at me. But anyway, yeah, we had a few things to deal with after that, and the main one was the vampire. Okay, the original one was the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who had done a whole lot of the research for the blood rituals that they were using to do various bits of their bullshit. And in order to protect them and me, I guess, from getting more of that spell cast through the blood nonsense, we had to take down the vampire that had taught the now Aranese everything they know, but keep her alive so that a planetar named Singara could deal with her. And then we had to get Jessamy. So another planetar, this one named Anufriva, could at least look her in the face. I did get a little bit of my own back on that one, which is just as well, given that I died again! I took a ball bearing, I put it in her mouth, I cast heat metal, and I made her swallow it. Then recut her head off.
Garbage. It's just grin.
Be careful of Michigan, because you were still kind of snugging Michigan, and Michigan is in the process of taking your sandwich apart.
You look down. You're sharing that if you.
Oh, bugger! Just grab its hunk of it and just sort of
Delicious.
on.
Peck, peck, peck,
like,
peck,
the
peck,
edge
peck,
of the
peck, peck,
table.
peck, peck. Yeah. Yeah, Michigan's getting a little more verbal since you left. Mostly the vocabulary is snug, delicious, mine, adorable.
Goblin.
Ah yes, Omen, Gremlin. Because of course that was Alice doing the actor feat thing. So when she uses Michigan voice to be Omen, Gremlin, looks up.
Very confused.
Oh, more taken aback. Mine. And then right back at him. Mine!
Glad something hasn't changed.
Fine.
Yeah, apparently Remy, what was it, the word, trisecting? Sesame wasn't
No,
able to-
no. Darwin remembers the trisecting. That was the clone that re-trisected. The thing is that given nobody was overly upset about
What now?
Oh, you
Oh.
missed a step.
yeah, it turns out that okay, you remember how, maybe you don't, but Alana was going to talk to Jessamy's corpse?
Right. I never. Yeah. And then
She didn't get an answer, indicating that either she didn't want to come back, or, which isn't usually a thing, or that she was still alive somewhere.
Yeah, soul not connected
Right.
to.
How that works.
And that's
Right. Because if you're trying. Right. That makes.
yeah, so that's around about the time we found that out, was when we all poofed to various cages and or bubbles. And Cherie is just and that's why I was woken at what some of my colleagues refer to as half-past ass crack of the morning by these two, pointing at Ava and Rylan, saying that my boyfriend has just vanished. Alice, I really need the recipe for these. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
But
things
that she's
rapidly accelerated to
officially
full
done.
stupid.
We think?
I gather, but she's officially
We don't.
gone. It's
We don't
done.
know. I wasn't around for that, but and Alice goes. What has been brought up by the group is that they weren't fussed about taking her body or trying to rescue her. When we got her down, the rest of them teleported out. And one of the things that might have happened is that she might be, because she's an Aranese now, she's a devil.
Either back in the hells or somehow we finally perma-killed it.
I would,
More than likely the former.
yeah.
Yeah. Our luck. Yeah.
On the other hand, there was an interesting trip to get there. We found some particularly ancient bling that might be relatively powerful.
Yeah.
We wound up, because of the Omen Gremlin over here. Omen Gremlin. Peck, 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 sandwich. We wound up in a very, very old shrine to Palor. Something about the Order of the Mirage. Secretive kind of order as far as we could tell. That, tend to be worshipping in the background when regimes that don't approve of Palor worship are in charge.
Yeah, the sort that keep going even when all other mainstream varieties get, well, when genocides happen.
So yeah, and Heskan, who we obviously had to tell about what was happening to what had happened to the Azamar, had another piece that was found in a similar temple in the Southern Lands, like 40 years ago or more. Not much more, but some more.
And now we have both of them.
We think there might be more pieces, but that's apparently something we're going to be asking the Omen Gremlin about. And actually slides one of the buns over and delicious. It's something like a storage and a channel for radiant energy.
Yep. One piece is of the focus, and the other bit is the reservoir. I don't know if they actually combine or if they are meant to be just used as one.
Hazel seems to be of the opinion that it's meant to be a radiant energy cannon.
That's certainly
that
one
could
way
come
these
in
things probably
handy.
could be used. It's the lance of the sun itself. If Baylor wants something gone,
No, still has to be done through the rest of us, I guess.
remember what I kept saying for the longest time? I walk in the sun and the sun burns all evil. Boy, does it burn all evil.
Yeah, I just would prefer it not burn a hole in the fabric of reality while we're at it. Which is why we have to find the giggling lunatic, but we also needed information on the bomb to find out what we were getting into. Which is why we, why Molly volunteered. I imagine that Barnum, and sure he is, I imagine Barnum throwing an obscene amount of money at her did not hurt. Granted, it was for this, and holds up a life-sized iron replica of a fairy dragon, which is... It actually flies, and on top of Darvin's head, which is it's quite heavy, so...
Yeah, good.
There was an auction she didn't really like going on about it, so I crushed it from orbit.
She was mostly it's off your head now. There were a lot of students offering favors and the like, and she seemed more interested in the coin because obviously things are going interestingly in Baronsvere as a whole at the moment. So she's been sending money home.
Ah.
So Barnabas decided 300 gold was a perfect price.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's an amazing piece. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
You should have seen
anything else.
You should have seen the courier butterfly she sent us. Large metal butterfly.
Agref is going to have a network of postage in the future that's probably just going to be made out of various mechanical flying critters.
Awesome. It wouldn't necessarily always have to be flying, too, as a matter of fact.
In any case, in answer to your question, I will imagine that there are a few anecdotal moments that we haven't quite got around to. There was a particularly interesting pub brawl, for one. Someone decided
Dare I ask who started that one?
Someone decided to ask Alisaie's price and then try to pluck a handful of her feathers. Yeah. This was one of one of those places where the mugs are wood and heavy, so that A, they don't break, and B, they make fairly good blunt weapons.
Yes.
And yeah, given my past, I can fight with just about anything, so it all went to a particularly interesting place. Then there were
the beatings will continue until the stupid stops.
Then there were the flicker foxes.
Oh yeah.
Living guiding bolts, essentially.
Crossed with displacer beast.
Okay. Hence the flickering. Okay.
I just wonder if they would have actually gone for you, because you've got a connection with a god, but not the right god. Yeah, you missed various adventures in Anbeer. Barnabas in a specialty fudge shop.
Mm.
Oh no.
To be honest, the one who went slightly more mad in the end was Rylan.
They had
Really?
they had tea fudge.
They had a lot of different
Yeah,
kinds
it's
of tea
interesting
fudge.
watching an
Wow.
elf vibrate.
Tea
So I take it.
And rosemary shortbread. I remember you were really impressed by the rosemary shortbread.
was also very nice. Yes.
At around that point, given this clarity, you probably notices that there's also now on one of the counters a pretty little orange box with Ryland's fudge on it on the counter, so that Ryland has a place to put it away if they want to. That's the nature of the house. Now, Alice doesn't really notice until she's like, "Oh, Ryland, if you want to put your stuff away." Points, and you know that box wasn't there 5 minutes ago. The house is like this.
Getting used to it.
So real estate is just the perfect word.
Yeah, somebody took a spell
Yeah.
and did a lot to it, to the point where it's now an artifact that I could legitimately call it's an item of legend. That is arcane power to the point of creating a plane.
Yeah, but I can't think of it that way because it's
given it-
my house.
That's right.
Yep, and now it belongs to
And you know, by
Like I
merit.
say, given
who
its
intended.
source, I'm not at all surprised.
To be fair, it wasn't Calatiel's to start with. Apparently, they got it from an adventurer.
Oh. Oh.
And now it has been
Okay.
passed on to she who calls it the Surreal Estate. Which is an appropriate name.
I will give you a tour before we have to head back to the to the soda shop, and at some point, if somebody can spare the teleportation, there might have been mention of, given that we have a stable and a place for a large hooved mammal to ride, we might be able to pick up legs. But you know,
So,
if
let me just ask baseline. For all intents and purposes, at this moment, everybody at least here are relatively okay.
we're keeping on.
Relatively
there's
okay is good
existential-
phrasing for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of existential dread going around, and in some cases, murderous urges, but, you know,
We're
nothing
alive.
outside of the realm of usual adventurer nonsense.
I will feel better when I get
In which
to.
case,
Well, I'll feel better when I get to show somebody else around this
get
place.
to- sorry.
Uh,
Yes,
but
let's
I
do
have-
that.
I have a
And
question,
Garvin stands up.
Wait.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
where's Faraday? Didn't she?
Still out of character. Still researching. You weren't being of any help.
Yeah, still research. Yeah, that was another reason why I headed out. I mean, the expediency in which I headed out was because of the news that I had gotten, but the timing was such I had already planned on it anyway, simply because, well, I'm me, and research is not exactly my forte, so it was safest to just leave Faraday to it. Once she was set up, yes, I know, you're shocked. um, and so it was safer to leave her to it once I knew that she was set as far as, you know, the essentials. And then I that was it. So
Let me guess. You.
as far as where is she, what is she doing? That's it.
I'm guessing that you may have slipped some gold to Michelle Harthart to make sure she eats once in a while. Gets fresh air and stuff like that. And yes, I'm
Like I
assuming
said, the essentials.
Yeah. We know our
The
bookish
essentials,
types.
Yeah, the essentials were taken care of.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I basically I figured she was like me when I'm composing, as far as researching. So yeah, that was necessary. I basically just was like, what am I like when I'm composing? Here's a few more goals.
Tunnel vision.
I will give you the tour. And yeah, there is Menagerie.
Artistic focus.
There is Menagerie. There are the libraries, which is basically research in general, history in particular, and as we have now come to refer to it, AO3. The menagerie has some very interesting critters in it, and while there are the usual dogs and the cats, Darwin gets more or less mobbed by a small pack of sugar gliders.
I love it. I absolutely love that.
I'm sure Rylan can introduce Darwin to Cupcake.
Oh, yes. I was gifted a ferret.
He said they said they wanted a ferret. And so, yeah, Rylan just has decided, they apparently decided that Cupcake was their mascot. As LSA put it, wiggly little chaos engines, how much better could we be represented?
You know?
And yeah, the game and recreation room now has a couple of chairs for people performing, and there are some more bookshelves along one wall, but a lot of it is sheet music and straight told old legends that could later be turned into prose if you wanted to, as well as the desk and some various, tables with some decks of cards, a couple of boxes of what you guys aren't entirely sure what board games are. Remy probably is. But there weren't really very many games nights at the Crestwinds. Sometimes, but when you have to get up that early to start baking, generally not spending the entire night before playing, like... There is effectively Trivial Pursuit. Which I'm sure Clarity will find very interesting. And yeah, there's the conservatory, which is a sort of greenhouse gardenish kind of a setup. And you've already seen your room. The main sitting room is a hearth home comfy, but a little better matched. And there's one of those things that looks like a wind-up phonograph, but it plays the bottled music without having to swap records all the time. Kind of given that it's all from LSA's head, it's kind of an earworm machine. And for now, if we think of something else, we'll have to tell it on the way. We've told all the world in peril stuff, so there's that. But we should probably start heading in the direction of the soda shop. I want to know what she meant by the adventure clause. She was apparently she was a bit concerned about missing curfew, but the note said something about getting around it with the adventure clause, and I want to know what that means.
I do too, I think.
What?
And sure he is. She'll be glad to see you, though. She did ask.
Right. I just remembered one more thing we probably ought to explain, because in the process of trying to get our leads, uh, we met one of the scarier professors here in Agraf.
Professor August, the graviturgy. And honestly, I don't see why that requires. I'm not sure why that
Mostly
requires.
because
Good.
you mentioned anecdotal stuff and a few other details. I just figured that was worth mentioning, mostly because that between the professor herself and the living forged individual there.
You know Molly's mechanical creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That but
Okay.
that but humanoid. Fully ensouled.
Okay.
No,
That's not normal.
out of character. No, that is not a Darwin reaction. That is. Wait, you're saying like fully living soul in This isn't a yeah okay. This
Right.
is a
No,
wait. What?
I didn't catch the soul part.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it was yeah okay until you said that, and then it's like wait what?
Something we will explain at around about the same time as we explain how Paladin Crestwind, of all people, managed to annoy the governor of Cabreaval. We're at about break time, so
And
we'll
that gets a jaw drop.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll cover that and the trip to the soda shop when we come back because we are at break time now. So.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back on a trolley in the direction of the soda shop near to the Agref Academy of Mathematics, which I'm sure this lot are describing a bit to Darwin because isn't it a shame he missed that? Also, between you all telling the story of how Remy basically turned around to Calatiel, who was the only one who wasn't even remotely upset at having been outed, going, this was long overdue, you should have said something sooner, etc., etc., etc. Well, Calatiel had just had this massive dinner party for these guys, and for a lot of the bigwigs around Egrev, who had all been making bets, this is Alice, about what Calatiel was. So his response to getting outed was to gather the great and the good so that they could, make good on their various bets. And when I said I was probably the main person responsible for what happened because the plan was mine at the start, that's why I got this. And holds up the key. But yeah, apparently they were just trying to thank us and had probably taken enough of the governor's stuff by then. And so it didn't end on the nicest note, but hey, Hazel actually smoothed over, and Hazel actually stepped in and smoothed over.
Look, Remy was being a me. And that's my shtick.
We also had a gift basket.
The shift in reality on that is giving me a migraine.
But we did have a gift basket. Candied bacon was involved. To be fair, that's a new one on Darwin.
Remy does not comment, but she does not look remorseful.
Nobody expected Alice, whose insight at this point really is insane. Nobody expects you to be remorseful. It's just, it's kind of nice to know that Hazel can smooth these things over.
I'm just going
I
to.
suppose there's that.
I'm going to produce one of the bits of candy bacon that I did take along with once again from the bag, and I'm just offering it to Darwin to try, despite the near radioactive spice levels.
And you're just okay. You're gonna have to make me a con save now.
Gives it a sniff first. Okay. Oh, now hasn't put it in his mouth yet. Just giving it a sniff first. But even that's enough to warrant the con save.
No, not necessarily. It doesn't. The problem is it doesn't smell that spicy. Mostly you smell maple
okay, well
and
then,
honey,
yeah.
and that's yeah. You
Okay, well,
you
14.
yeah you can about tolerate it, but it's not until you put it in your mouth that you remember who gave it to you.
And so it's like, okay, oh, and then 3, 2, 1. Oh no,
I mean, it really is just
red.
whoo.
Yeah, his face turns red, and he's breathing very deeply, going.
Okay.
How is it that you forgot that I enjoy things of
The spicy variety.
One day I'm going to get used to this. Today is not that day, but it's not as bad as I feared.
yeah, the nuts are arguably worse, and there's a few other things that we've got now that have the ultimate kick.
Later. Much later.
Don't worry, we're going to the soda shop, and maybe you can try one of the what did you call it? Sure is try it floats. Although we're attempting to name it, name that particular soft drink Dr. Argus. Well, we had to do something
So,
after
Speaking of him, what was
her. Actually, don't be sexist.
Her.
my bad? No, my apologies.
He is alarming.
What was the special
Gravit
field of study?
graviturgy. You know gravity. You probably don't really know gravity overly much. It's basically what pins
Well, I
you.
mean, I know what it is.
Well, she can manipulate it.
There's that one spell that
Okay.
that like flips it. That's supposed to be like only the highest caliber of wizard could ever cast this, and she does and she apparently can do a version of that, except on every level possible.
I believe her go-to threat is, I will hit you with a singularity so hard your remains will fit into a coffee mug.
Still don't entirely get what she means by
Okay.
singularity outside
Adding
of
her
just
to my list.
yikes.
I explained black holes to you. That's what a singularity is.
Yeah, that's why I get it, but I also don't, because just the concept is still that hurts a little.
I mean, I don't know what that is. I just assumed it was something terrible, and yeah. So
Imagine
like I said, I'm adding them to my list of people not to offend.
You know how gravity holds you to the earth. Imagine if it was doing it more
Okay.
and more.
Well,
And
hence
more.
The
Yes.
squish.
Squish. Yes. And after
Okay, that's about what I figured.
after that various bit of conversation, you're out and into the soda shop. You're still a little early, like 10-15 minutes out, so it really is all about getting a very large table. I'm going to get you a milkshake, but Molly was very proud of being able to have drinks to pay for all our drinks, so I'm going to allow that with everyone but Darvin, who apparently needs something milky.
Yeah, a little bit.
And plunk. Once she's ordered strawberry banana.
Which, out of character, is actually a personal favorite of mine.
Oh, there you go. And
I'm
Alice.
not surprised you knew that, or somehow knew that.
I didn't, but I somehow guessed. I guess I know you very well. Or I can read your mind.
It honestly
Pamphlet.
feels like you can, like it's crazy.
And Alice says like, "Oh,
It's not
hey,
difficult. It's a pamphlet.
nah." I always thought about yours as more of a House of Leaves. Like you have to turn it around and go through several pages.
Choose your own adventure book. Anyway.
Look up House of Leaves sometime and see how it is to read that book. But Alice turns around and Hazel,
I will. Thank you.
Hazel, do you want to tell Darwin about the blessing you received when we were at that surf and turf place?
Yeah, that was a lot all at once, and I'm still processing that. So, yeah. We'd been on one of the bits of this, just recovery phase, I guess.
We'd been munched by vampires, and then there was the pit fiend. But Cherie got us
Yeah,
through the pit fiend. We'll tell you about the pit fiend later, but good news first.
yeah, that came out of a hole in reality because somebody decided to just crack open a gateway to the hells. Anyway, we were recovering from that, and then everything just stopped.
For everybody except for the ones that were in some way connected to Palor.
Yeah, and probably slowed down for everyone except me because I kind of got directly told that so long as Hearthhome and Goldendale are home, the what makes Ambir is gonna be happening there too. You know, the whole how everything there is that much better, how everything grows better, the food, all of that, how it's a breadbasket, a center of trade, how it's kind of one of the main like locuses. This entire
Loci,
half of
by
it,
the way.
loci, the entire like for this continent revolves around.
This country. Remember, Baronsphere is the same continent.
Yeah, that's why I said half the continent.
Yeah, probably more like a third. Remember, there is still the Elvenwild, and there is a lot of Elvenwild. Excuse me, that is Ryland's home. Be polite.
Ryland gets a pass. Ryland's home, is it town or village? What would you call that? Also gets a pass. Most everything else, still jury out.
Fair enough. Either way, yes, and Beer in specific and Zlato Hour as a province enjoys the favor and blessing of Palor. Given how many favors have been granted, Palor apparently decided to give Hazel the one thing she wanted more than anything else. As a blessing for all of her hard work.
Yeah. I'm still trying to wrap my head around most of that because wow.
Because every time she asked for something, it was never for herself, but always for the greater good or something along those lines.
Or for those that she cares about most. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. Well, that actually is a massive amount of relief, as a matter of fact.
Then around about that point, walking stack of books nearly as tall as Barnabas comes nudging in through the door.
incoming genius.
Clearly gets up and helps.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, it's Molly.
Molly.
Her hair is very, very much the Hope green at that point, and it just books on table. Yeah, there may have been some secondary research, but before I get into that, I know some of you are probably going to ask about the adventure clause, and I can get to that too. But oh, you already have a drink. I'm sorry, dear, but he ate something a bit spicy. Oh, okay. But for the rest of you, can I get you anything to drink?
The try it soda.
That'll be fine.
What Clarity said.
Try it floats for everyone.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're...
I would like one as well, even though this is assuaging the spicy already, but I don't want to miss out. So
Okay. It comes back similarly laden, but with tray this time. Clink. Okay, so before we get into anything, to very quickly explain the adventure clause, it turns out, according to my roommate, and I did check the bylaws and student handbook and everything, just to be on the safe side, because sometimes the sense of humor in this place is a little odd. It turns out that the school really understands the inventive and inspired type. So you get a certain number of free passes, as it were, once per month, and they call it the adventure clause because you are answering the call to adventure. There are specific rules about it, as in you're basically anything that is worth skipping meals and sleep for counts.
Is that subjective though?
Yes, but that's kind of the point. And around here, they consider adventure anything from working on a project to helping save the world to getting into your paramour's pants.
Well, that's
can certainly be
incredibly
adventure,
generous.
yes.
The thing is that if you do get caught, and it's only if you do get caught, you do have to send a justification into the student council, and basically, if it is deemed worth it, you get that adventure day back the following month. So, like, say if I had 2. And if I get caught, I'll be telling them I was helping adventurers save the world. And I'd be given my 2 back. But last month, Caroline broke curfew because she was having a bit of a thing with somebody over in botany. And there was a thing that was supposed to be looking at the local sea flora, but turned out to mostly be snogging plus on a beach. They're not going to get their days back at the end of the month, but they'll get it the following month if they don't use. You see what I mean? It's a little complicated, but basically what it means is they will understand if you break curfew if it's something important.
Well, good, because we wouldn't want you to get in trouble.
Apparently you guys talked to Professor August. Nobody. Okay, no, about 3 different professors yell that much. Well, look at the people they have to teach. You gotta blow off steam somewhere. Anyway, okay, I did some maths about your bomb. Unfortunately, I was by and large on guesstimates because you don't know. But
Yeah, sorry about that.
the thing is that given the whacking, it doesn't look like physical damage. They're just bludgeoning is going to hurt it all that much. because it would have broken already if it was that weak. So that gave me an indication of how strong the metal involved was. And I'm guessing they didn't hit the glass because it's only here you can get really shatterproof glass. The feeling I'm getting is that it's using magic around it is going to be a bad idea. Teleportation is going to be a particularly bad one because it how do I explain this? The studying I've been doing suggests that we are all made of lots of very, 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 very tiny things. Everything in the world is made up of very, very, very tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
And teleportation kind of messes with how all of that is put together. We're pretty okay to be reassembled in places, and so are most things, because all those little bits know what they're supposed to be. The problem is, if it's something that unstable, it could go boom in transit, and that would probably be worse, because you're somewhere in between.
And that's probably either the astral or some other space belonging to deities or formerly belonging to deities.
Either way, it's probably going to explode if too much magic gets used near it or on it. Teleportation, you better hope they don't do it for very much longer or very, very much more often, because it's got at most 3 more teleports before it explodes between planes. Best case is 5.
Oh, no.
Best case is 5 or 6.
Like 3 more instances of them trying to get away before thud, and we have a new Shattered Lands.
Yeah. Like my note said, I did some ancillary research, and before you leave Cabreaval, there might be somebody you need to talk to. They don't live in Egref. They live kind of outside of Egref. They have to. It's not an exile situation. It's a health and safety situation. Since Governor Fortinbras started sending mercenaries to the Southern Lands, we had one of the mercenaries early on. It was from Egref, but he wasn't at that time very interested in being scientific. But the things he saw in the Southern Lands made him think, basically inspired him towards research of a kind. So he takes every precaution, so don't worry too much about that. But that black stuff you all keep talking about, he studies it. He's trying to figure out how to permanently destroy it, and he says there's a way for some people to get immunity.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, we definitely need to be speaking with him.
Wait. What?
Sorry, is it the words, or are you just being disbelieving in general?
It's the notion that precautions don't sound like it's enough to reassure us.
That's from you. From her, not so much.
A little bit of that.
Okay. I'm not responsible for any of that.
Yeah, it's entirely fair. There's the fact that possible to be immune to it at all. Because up until now, all we'd had were barriers and maybe the salve, and that was no guarantee.
Okay, I'll tell you what I heard, because there was a lot of hunting up the gossip here, because I don't think this is written down. They learned the secret. An adventurer learned the secret in the southern lands. They came across a buried city still being guarded by the revenants of a long dead people. They said most people wouldn't survive trying to get immunity. You've got to be strong enough in body, mind, and soul to survive everything that's involved. Out of character, what that basically means is if you don't have class levels, you are fucked. So it's basically reserved for heroes. Basically, the premise was, okay, that gods can apparently be tainted, from everything we've heard, but radiant energy destroys it in sufficient quantity. So he was trying to figure out what the difference is. My theory, I don't know if this is his theory, but I bet it's his theory because it's my theory, is that the mortal soul is a part of it. The energy that destroys it has to come from somebody who understands what mortality is.
Okay.
But apparently it's not something that you write down particularly because it literally involves a lot of dying.
Oh.
It's just... It's something about... I think, anyway... Given... I've only got snippets, so I'm putting them together as best I can. It's like, you know how your soul goes to the celestial plane? Well... It's like you take the soul, the bit that's gonna get corrupted, as well as the body, and you just keep dipping it in the celestial plane. And then something about... Because the reason that you sometimes struggle to bring somebody back after a lot of different times is because that damages a soul. You're ripping it around like a piece of laundry. That's never good. Mm-hmm. So apparently the thing you do is you cram a lot of additional celestial energy into the soul to put the cracks together.
That explains why bringing you back that first time felt like I was cooking.
More than that.
More to do with the fact that you were calling on power you weren't quite ready for yet, wasn't it?
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking more about is I died a few times, and then I got pulled into that pocket plane, and the repair job was cramming a whole bunch more celestial energy in here. And then I died some more.
We're gonna probably very quickly find out if you're somehow already...
If I made me immune... If all this made me immune by accident...
That would be... absolutely goofy, but it would make sense, wouldn't it?
If all of this is right... I mean, yeah, to be honest, like I say, I'm putting this together from snippets and basically, there are a few outposts of people who are working on stuff that's too dangerous to work on in a populated area. And we have this. It's another ex-mercenary. He goes around to the various outposts to get news, and because he's kind of bardy, he tells them in story form. At least to those he's not giving direct reports to. I mean, if you want more information than that, his name is John Barley, and he doesn't actually sleep all that much, and I think he's in, they call it a theme pub, because it's more like the pubs we have in the inns we have in Baronsphere than anything else, except without actual inn rooms. It's called the Barrel and Tap. If you want to get more from him, there's that. But actually, you probably need to talk to him to find out exactly where the guy dealing with the black gunk is. But
Do you have a name for the researcher?
I don't. People don't really like to talk about him. John Barley will, though.
Okay.
Meantime, and digs around through various stacks of books and pulls out a sheaf of paper, thinks about it, hands it to Barnabas. That's the paper I more or less wrote. There's going to be a lot of mathematics that I don't know if any of you are going to understand, but it shows how I came to my estimates.
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
maybe the tester guy, the researcher guy, will have some more ideas. But as for me, I just have guesstimates and lots of caffeine.
Well, Molly, thank you so much.
Not a problem. And if you guys need anything else?
I don't think so. Anyone else have a night?
Not off the top of my head, but we know where you are, so.
All I want to do is say thank you for finding this much in the first place.
You've been a huge help already.
Well, it was actually really good for me because it gave me
You first, man.
it gave me an excuse to look at a lot of the different stress points of various materials, which now I actually have this really neat diagram hanging over my desk. So now I know what best metals are to work for the various things.
That's amazing.
That butterfly you sent us was very neat, by the way.
Yeah, those are they don't last very long. But I tend to take them apart and reuse them in different messengers. I think it's going to wind up being a small business at this point, but I keep having to tell people that I can't just devote all my time to that because I still have to study. I think my next project is going to be a unicorn.
Somehow, given you, that does not surprise me.
Actually, bigger things are easier to work on. You don't have to make such tiny little bits.
Oh,
So it's probably going to be more relaxing for me, honestly. Of course, I could make a miniature ice drake in your honor. Well, without the ice drake eating your horse, we wouldn't have met.
It's true.
Ah, yes, fair point.
So it was all worth it,
We did.
even with the weird wood elf on the roof.
Yeah.
He looks at Rylan. He went there to sulk.
The more I keep hearing about them, the more I understand Hazel's hatred.
Alice says,
You don't know the half of it.
Actually, most of her enmity is directed at who she thought was her mother and turns out to be her aunt. and
Equally fair.
and every other high elf that treated her little half-elven ass like so much garbage. Seems to be a
Weird.
I'll tell
thing.
you the
Uh,
whole story
okay.
eventually.
I know they
Maybe a
don't.
bit later, but right now we've got a few other things.
Yeah, I do also know though, Rylan, that the high elves don't exactly treat the wood elves in the Elven Wild particularly great either. So
No, no, they don't.
still, anyway, Molly sort of picks up her books. I mean, you know more or less my schedule, so, or at least when I'm here. So if you need anything else,
We'll let you know.
I also have a pigeonhole in Sage Dorm, so scoops up her books, waves and has to catch the Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much again.
Well, that's progress, I suppose.
In progress.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah, we're definitely staying first. Mm,
Yeah,
John.
it's anything we can get at this point, right?
John Barley, by the way.
Yes. It's John Barley. He doesn't sleep much and can be found at the Barrel and Tap.
Which means if we can be up a little while longer, we could probably catch him.
Alright.
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, no John with the present. I'm happy with that. That's
Continue doing what we do and rock this city, as it were. Hey, we're not hitting this. We're not hitting the power structure here with a mallet.
Sure he is not anymore, anyway. Remember, poke it. Well, to be fair, we weren't hitting it with a mallet. We were poking it with a sharp stick. Yeah. The barrel and tap is. I mean, you know the sort of theme bar medieval inn. That's basically what you've got. It's like you can see some bits that remind you of
times.
not quite. It's more the like here in England, you've got the ye olde rustic pubs, which were obviously ye olde rustic pubs for quite some time. But there's also, I think you have these more in the US, the ones that are made to look like one of those old pubs. But it always comes across as a little try-hard. That's what you have in Egref.
As opposed to the Disney-fied ones, which is another flavor.
It's kind of Disney-fied. But not, medieval, just somewhere between ye olde theme pub and West, Wild West Epcot Center kind of a situation. It's just so obviously fucking cheesy. And yeah, at about this time of night, you've got a reasonable clientele. All of them dressed in the various Egref bits of finery. And one thing Darwin will notice, and will have noticed, as he's been around town of late, now that he's a little more settled and he knows the group is okay, there are a fair few people wearing the same style of scarf as Rylan, and a lot of women with bows in their hair like Hazel's, just different colors. Well, Barnabas already knows they're fashion forward, so. Alisay looks and goes, "You should see the current fashion mags. Apparently, they're taking fashion cues from these ones. And if you wonder why Clarity is a bit sparkly at the moment, ice cream.
Yes. I may
She
have
said,
mentioned.
I'm still not quite clear on that.
Her
mean-
patron took things a bit literally.
I got sprinkled in the ice cream place, and then Hazel licked me, and then somebody said the clerk said that because it tastes like watermelon, uh, it it's like watermelon, and then the clerk said that I wasn't made of ice cream, and I said, "Am I made of ice cream?" And my my lady patron decided to make it happen, and then I had to sit in the freezer for like 5 minutes because I was melting.
And even after all of that, she's still delicious.
Yeah, I love you people.
You should have seen them at the at the burger event at the food stalls in Amber. Apparently they're doing stuffed things in a day or two, so
Mm.
anyway. Now we just need to find a John Bartley.
Clarity's gonna go up to the bartender.
Yeah, you have a dwarf who's cleaning up. It's those same solid ass wooden mugs.
Hi.
Can I help you?
We are actually here looking for someone named John Barley. We were told he might frequent here.
The somewhat elderly, somewhat grumpy looking gentleman sitting on the stool next to you turns around and goes, "Who wants to know?"
Cupcake Coterie. We are adventurers of sorts, and yeah, we wanted to ask some questions. You, Mr. Barley?
Oh, this is straight up charisma check.
Looky, looky. There it is. 18.
Are they all as cheerful as you?
Probably not, but I think few people are as cheerful as me.
See, I want the ones that aren't cheerful.
Okay. Remy?
Yeah, that was expected.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
This gentleman here may or may not be Mr. Barley, and he does not want to talk to me.
It's the chipper. I don't deal well with the chipper.
Okay then. Remy will step up.
Yeah, there's probably a spare stool on the other side of this gentleman. I am John Barley. What do you want to know? I am trying to get riotously drunk here.
I will happily buy your next drink if you can give us directions to a researcher outside the city. We weren't given his name, but he studies the corruption coming from the southern lands.
The Sultan. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's who I just went to see. That's kind of why I'm trying to get riotously drunk. Not that he's not careful. He's careful. Just even being in the same spot with it, I spent way too long. No. Don't believe I get nice cushy job just checking on the weirdos in the foothills, and I wind up smack in the middle of somebody actually. To be fair, they're not playing with it. It's just I don't like being near it.
I don't blame you for that.
There's a couple of ways to get there. One way is there's a supply train. Little supply train leaves from the depot roundabout midday every 2-3 days. I think the next one's coming out in a day or so. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, not really sure. There is a teleportation circle, but that's more emergencies. I usually use it to get out because I don't like being in there. But there is a way in if you feel like it.
I'm not sure I would describe this as a immediate emergency, but time is of the essence.
Out of character, if you did want to use the teleportation circle, maybe you could offer the book that the rest of yours are drawn in, so that he can draw it just in case you want to use it.
That is a good point. Okay, well, take out the book.
Oh, you got some good ones.
I was very fortunate.
Sketch. You're one of Carter's, aren't you?
A lifetime ago, yes.
Eh. Is this actually any better? Whatever it is you're... Being a cupcake, apparently.
It's more worthwhile.
I wouldn't be much for the frosting myself, but that's just me. But, yeah, no, why... I gotta know. Why are you going to Mr. Tests that crap?
We heard he's part of that testing involved. He knows a way to become immune to it.
Oh, yeah, he does.
We're gonna need that.
In all fairness, part of the reason he knows is because of me.
Oh, well. Thank you, then.
You could ask for further information, just saying.
How exactly did you come across that? Molly's talked about a city guarded by dead people?
I wasn't there, but there was a... Part of it I got from a bard who was in the area, was running around with another bunch of weirdos. She had some stories. Half of what she got up to, I questioned some of it, but then I went out looking and she underplayed half of it, which Anyway, point is that her and her group, and I confirmed this with this tabaxi individual, and every so often we got this kind of weird little human that just... She was the loudest snoop in the world. Anyway, apparently they were dealing with some of that crap in the southern lands. dealt with a village that got tainted by it, and they had to rescue some information artifact or something, I don't know, but they found out that something was creating mummies. Tainted. Somebody had some really weird burial rituals back in whatever day, and some of these things got tainted and the body started walking. So when they went to make sure that the one they encountered wasn't the only one, well, was the only one, you know what I mean, they found what they thought was an ancient temple. Turned out to be an ancient city. Now, if she tells it true, and I have no reason to believe she doesn't, the city was abandoned by everybody but, well, yeah, you're really not going to believe me, but orcs. Out of character. Thing about the game world. Might be a bit different for Ravnica, but you will have noticed that I have, up until this point, not mentioned full-blooded orcs. That is because, in this world, they haven't even seemed to exist, and the only reason you know that there must have been orcs is because there are half-orcs. Thing is that half-orcs, like half-elves, if they breed with humans, the half trait stays. So, if you breed a half-elf with a human, you get a half-elf.
Mm-hmm.
It's tenacious genetics. So, you must have assumed that there were orcs once. But the assumption that has always been made is that orcs were big, brutish, and stupid. But now, apparently, they had an ancient civilization. Is what you seem to be hearing. Anyway, the reason that the revenants of these orcs weren't getting tainted is because they were part of some kind of royal spiritual guard or something, and they'd gone through a ritual to make them immune. Now, the bard I spoke to didn't say a whole hell of a lot about how it all worked. And Tabaxi was even more tight-lipped. But the weird little human, you get enough peach schnapps in that one? She tends to talk about how each and everything about this person gets more attractive every single time she turns around, so started talking about how she was willing to prove that the immunity worked by going through all of it, and apparently it was a lot of dying and being brought back, crammed full of radiant energy or something. She was really far along on the peach naps by that point, so...
Oh. Well. If that's what it takes.
I mean, I thought about asking, but a little too weird for my blood. Thank you very much. I'm happy to stay as far away from it as possible. But yeah, if you want actual details, he might have got more out of the bard. Not really sure. But he's been doing his own research.
We definitely need to speak to him. So, thank you.
His name is Lucas, by the way.
Okay.
Well, no, this is sorry. This is a not uncrowded bar, so it's basically Remy, John Barley, and possibly Clarity standing on the other side. you guys were just sort of trying to find a table and probably failing, because it's not a very big place. They seem to think that all rustic inns in Baronsvere are small, cramped, and loud. Which they're not entirely wrong, but... raises mug and goes back to the drinking.
Remy puts a gold coin on the counter for his next drink and looks to Clarity.
Thank you, Mr. Barley.
Let's get going.
Yeah, these guys have moved outside just to get out of the squish. Alice A in particular, because she takes one look in and goes, my wings are not surviving that. So, how did it go?
Good.
He did not like me.
Is it,
Darwin just looked really confused at that concept.
Do I have to?
No.
He's just grumpy.
Got the teleportation circle.
It's
we
not
need
that he
to
didn't
go-
like you. He didn't like the. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I've gotten that myself a few times. I get it.
okay, so are we gonna go back into the surreal estate before you... Because that wasn't just getting a teleportation circle. And I don't think we should discuss any of this on the street.
Probably not.
So yeah, back to the Riddler stump with by that point Alice A is for Darwin with the voices doing the meeting Dala at the fudge shop with the whole well, come back and have a look. I've got customers and I'm worried they might follow me in there. Well, good. I wanted a taste tester anyway. And then Barnabas just, I don't even think he knew he was moving. And some of the adventures in in kitchen witchery. Because you haven't met the Enderbees. We'll show you the cookbooks, because it's basically this 16-year-old named Lila and this halflings, and 21-year-old Sam, who's basically like what would happen if you took Hazel and made her male and halfling. Seeing them together was kind of a delight, actually. And Barnabas and Shireen now have a shared pet puppy. Sheree is, I brought them emotional support puppies after having to deliver the news that... Well, after the whole news about the asthma, well, people needed emotional support. So I just brought a whole bunch of the larger breeds of puppies and brought them to dinner to let them decide. We also got this... Ree and I also got this brown fluffy thing, which we'll probably have to pick up from your parents. Because I imagine that poor old Len's gonna tire poor old Puffy out.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, then eventually it's back.
Who is out of character? I can't remember the name of Cherie's Displacer Beast.
Woofles.
Off the top of my head.
Woofles.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. So how is Woofles, by the way?
I've been checking up a bit. He seems fine. He's getting along with Alexei quite well, actually. And I suppose at this point, the next time you're in Ambia, I am going to have to cook for all of you. It's a part of the Ambia courtship rituals. It involves a meal with the family. And yeah, back to the Riddler stump, back in through Remy and Alice's door into the surreal estate. Okay, so we have a teleportation circle, but what else Because if nothing else, I can't imagine Clarity would have left it just at how do we get there.
Apparently, the ritual involves dying multiple times.
Yeah, okay.
Elaborate. You're doing the thing again.
Well, that
Tell us.
one, that was the most important bit, and two, he didn't go into much detail of the ritual itself beyond that because he clearly found the whole topic significantly uncomfortable. But
Out of character, he did also mention, yeah, cramming the individual full of radiant energy at some point in the middle of all that.
he had said that there was a group of adventurers who had found in that buried city was apparently an orc city, like orcs. Very strange.
Well, wow. That.
What I was expecting.
Wow.
I
That.
might have to find the bard who had found it
Changes
sometime.
history.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not what I was expecting, but
Hang on, we're talking about history here. I'm just gonna check one of the libraries. Comes out with a book.
Ah.
Opens it. Okay, yeah, this one's got margin notes.
What do you mean it's got margin notes?
Oh, I was looking up the history of. I was looking up half-orc history, which I figured would go back to Orcish. And yeah, there is a chapter that talks about what they think orcs were like, and there are notes in the margins. Basically saying it's bullshit.
That's crazy.
I swear, there's. Okay. If one of these days we're just gonna have to stop, and you're going to have to imagine this place featuring everything it's ever featured. So we can go looking for shit that's in here that.
I don't think that would work.
Probably not a good idea.
How can I imagine everything this place has ever contained? Because it's still coming out of my imagination.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm now realizing that probably won't work, just because this place is weird like that and revolves around the individual currently owning it, and not any past stuff unless it randomly decides to.
Well, in the case of this book, it apparently randomly decided to. But apparently there's a lot about the orcs we didn't know.
Seems like it.
Oh, it's great that it's at least getting to the bards who can tell it proper, like, right?
Except I can't just base an entire song on this is bullshit. I need more information than that. I mean, Darvin could probably try, but you know, 3 stanzas and a chorus of this is bullshit is
Even I need a
probably
little bit more meat than that.
So the thing is,
Appreciate the vote of confidence, so thank you.
nothing you're saying suggests I didn't get made immune by accident.
You might
I mean,
have.
I don't know. 'Cause it depends on the ritual. I would assume you have to do something more than just die repeatedly, but
Yeah, but there's also the sheer amount of radiant energy patching the soul back together. That seems to have been
Which
a thing.
It's,
Yeah, well, and my, I kind of see a sort of metaphorical similarity. My mom had some pieces that were deliberately broken and like put together, but in a decorative way, and the pieces ended up being stronger for having been broken and then put back together. So I can kind of see conceptually the idea there, but wow.
Okay. We have a teleportation circle. We're gonna have tomorrow to kill before. Oh yeah, the other thing that happened, Ava's gun blew up.
fire
I
with the trap
didn't-
and gunpowder, fire.
There was a temple to
Oh.
Tiamat, and the trap was very interesting in that it was a 5-sided room, and each chunk of the room basically hit anybody who was on it with a different one of Tiamat's elements. And when she got woofed with fire, with
Fire.
yeah,
Okay.
apparently it was a lost cause, so she's having a new one built. Which means we have tomorrow to kill,
Oh,
which means teleportation circle probably. But tell you what, Ree,
well, was there any other, aside from a circle, was there any other method? I don't know, I just
Seems weird to just
there's-
pop
don't know
that.
about...
There's a supply train that leaves about midday every few days, but he wasn't sure whether the every few days was tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or whatnot. So
Okay.
and we got to assume that if he's got a regular circle there, it's there to be used.
Okay, fair.
But Ree, tell you what, if this individual, does this individual have a name?
Lucas.
You said Lucas, right?
hmm
The Lucas.
So we asked this Lucas about this and see if he's got any way of testing the theory without too much in the way of risk to me, you know. And either way, if we don't get satisfactory answers, or even if we just want more in-depth answers, we talk to Zuriel.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense
And I'd
to me.
certainly like to investigate as much as we can before you die again.
Oh, it's not the dying part I'm worried about if we're trying to test the theory.
Still, the principle of dying to test a theory.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I had to die to test a theory, that would not be ideal, but it's a whole lot better than having to have my soul tainted to test a theory.
Yes,
That's the
that
part
is
I
true.
meant.
That is true.
So we explain. We listen to Lucas's explanation. We explain what's been happening to me the last few months, and we see what happens in either way. We talk to Ziriel about what the fuck, and we go from there. But again, this is something that's sort of... I don't imagine that this Lucas could actually perform that service for people. So we'd have to find a particularly good and trusted cleric. And those of us already given to gods or high-powered patrons would have to ask and see if there's a way it can be done through them. Because, Clarity, I know you're not particularly up on the gods, so maybe this is something Lady Whimsy can do to an extent.
Maybe.
And Darvin, I have no doubt that if you play it right, you could get that sort of thing through devotees of Bahamut. But we'd probably have to go to Ambir for that. And you two.
Yeah, and I'm definitely, after seeing what... sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I had a thought. Never mind.
No, I want
It
to
was
hear
just
the thought.
Well, it's just simply that after having personally experienced what that did to Mom, I really want to make sure it doesn't happen to any of us in this process. So if there is a way of becoming immune, I don't really give a damn what it entails. I am going to
Yes.
see it through.
I'm just saying that it would be courteous to your god to ask your god for that.
Right.
And
Yes.
as for Rylan and Barnabas, well, how you approach that is up to you. So give it a think, because we've still got resting tonight, and then tomorrow heading out to meet this Lucas, and maybe this Lucas will have more information about what's going on in the Southern Lands and other stuff. As I'm kind of hoping that while us becoming immune is important, it'd be nice to kill a few birds with one stone, especially when we really need to find the giggling lunatic, which I'm assuming we're going to have to turn to the Omen Gremlin for. Omen Gremlin. Omen Gremlin.
Wait, you keep saying that. I have no idea what you're referring to.
The few times that Hazel has been calling upon the divinatory powers of her of her god, Palor has chosen to speak truth and prophecy through Michigan behaving like a doofus.
Lots of bouncing off of things, slamming into walls, squawking, and being Michigan.
Adorable.
Adorable Chaos Gremlin. Come here,
Choose
you.
your pet wisely.
Snug. Yeah, sorry. I think Michigan is the perfect pet for Hazel, personally.
Oh, yeah, like I said, you choose your pets wisely.
Alice is just I think that Michigan chose Hazel more to the point. He just made himself too attractive to resist.
Too adorable and ridiculous to say no to.
Yeah, because at the moment it's just head empty as their treats coming at any point.
So, yeah, that works.
Right, we're gonna have a bit of a day tomorrow. Sure he is. I'll let Polly know that we'll bring out breakfast to her, so she doesn't have to schlep off to the bakery.
I need to get her something to apologize for nearly knocking her into a wall, as well as the cat that I tripped over, whose name I never did get.
I will
for everybody, and
I will ask. And yeah, failing anything particularly else.
Clarity is just going to go to the little shrine and then scoop out some of her like special nut stuff and put it on there and be like, "Thank you for turning me into ice cream. That was fun. Anything else that you can do to help would be greatly appreciated."
We will deal with that particular interesting not quite prayer a little later. But somewhere around in 2 weeks' time, when we head out of a capital city of the provinces and into the rocky expanse of nothing that is ground level Cabreval. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Welcome back, Ethan. You have been missed.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Ethan. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.